Whether you're new to pool and practicing the basics, or a more experienced player performing drills to improve your shot making and positional play, the Drill Partner is perfect for you.
PremierBilliards.com. Exceptional cues, cases, and accessories from top-tier brands. Want it? Need it? Find it. PremierBilliards.com.
What is up, everybody? We are actually live tonight. I don't know what the hell happened earlier. I was out with the girls this afternoon, sweating some World Championship stuff for my phone. Then I get a few text messages. Hey, you're live. What's going on? No one's there. Don't know what the hell happened. But I meant to do a show earlier today with Panozzo. He's out there in Saudi right now. We're still going to try to get him on a few times, along with another good friend of mine, Sam, who's from that region. So we're going to be doing a lot of stuff for the World Championships. Plan on doing, at a minimum, daily recaps. Would like to do. Michelle, I got your text. Actually, I tried to respond to your text and it didn't let it go through. I don't know why. But yeah, we made it. Lots of stuff. We're going to try to do live shows like every day throughout the morning and early afternoon. And then stuff, of course, in the evening. And especially as the event just progresses. And it was already like a day full of like drama, to say the least. I mean, a lot of upsets. And so we're going to go through the live scoring. I got a pretty special guest. I did not update the title, although I should have. This is not Michael Panozzo, Bridge Digest, but we got one better. The beard himself, Mr. Raymond Linares from Florida. Raymond, how are you, buddy?
Same difference, right? Me or Panozzo. It's not really like
Well, it reminds me of like, I watched Scooby-Doo when I was a kid. You know what I mean? And at the end, when they pull off the mask, and then it shows like who the guy is. I feel like if we pulled off the mask, it would be Panozzo. You know what I mean? So if we took off the glasses and shaved the beard, then we'd have Mike in a nutshell. So, but Raymond, how are you, pal? You doing all right?
Doing good, man. Yeah, been busy. Been preparing. Busy. Well, I have a lot of stuff coming up in August. I'm going to be playing in both Matchroom majors, so getting ready for those. Getting my table prep.
U.S. Open
and European Open.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, because you're a guy, you played a lot of these events, but I'm assuming you weren't part of the top 100. So what is your opinion, or how are you feeling being one of these guys who doesn't get to compete in what's going on out there, and especially given not so much like the money for the sake of the money, but the money in terms of like where it puts you in positioning for the rest of the year?
I just think the opportunity of being at Saudi Arabia right now is unbelievable. So everybody who has that opportunity is, should just really absorb that, take that in, because it's, the World Nine Ball is the crown. It's like they say on the poster, it's the crown jewel. You know what I mean?
It's different this year. It was the crown jewel, but like no one ever saw it for years.
Right, exactly. And it's kind of like, I think Matchroom's really starting to build a lot of momentum, and it's kind of exciting now to see the infrastructure and like the vision, the idea that players getting behind the energy. You can tell it's just different. And I was watching the opening ceremonies today. Just really fun, really beautiful to see, kind of like a different presentation. It was a little bit like a Cirque du Soleil, kind of like, very, when you think about it, like very culturally appropriate for the Saudis and how they kind of like represent and add a lot of grandeur and stuff. And I saw some of the guys got to go to the big soccer game and stuff as well. And it just seems like such a wonderful kind of like arena and place to just portray nine ball. You know what I mean? It really showcases. So
you get this, like it reminds me closer being to sport, like traditional sport, because you get that, like if you go to my most recent like major sporting event, we were in Vegas for forever, for like 3 weeks or whatever it was, and went to go see a Vegas Knights game, courtesy of my man Brandon, manager at Griff's, and it was like they had this whole thing like pregame, intermission, you know what I mean? And that's what it reminded me of. You know, it reminded me of when you go to a sporting event, like it's a full on production, you know, before, during, and after. So I appreciate that kind of stuff, man.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. It's inspiring to watch. So for me, it's more of like, how do you continue just putting yourself in positions to earn wild cards, to earn a tour card, to get to the top 100, to get the invitation, those kind of things. There's a blueprint now for you to follow. And I think that's what a lot of players, like even guys that are on the outside that I haven't been playing for a while. I was just at a regional qualifier this past weekend for the U.S. Open, and there were guys that were competing that I was talking to that haven't been playing competitively for a while, and the word was like, I'm energized now. Like I'm excited to see what the World Championships looks like, and I don't only want to just qualify for the Open, but I want to get in the top 100 so I could be there next year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see a lot more people continue to put the pedal to the metal and start trying to improve and work on themselves and do what they need to do to get to that position, or at least to get the attention of the people that are making those decisions. And so you can get, on the radar, right? You want to be on the radar, be visible, and be prepared because an opportunity is available. Obviously, there are people there who got there on wild cards. That tells me there's opportunity, you know what I mean, to earn a wild card. What do you got to do to put yourself in that position to be ready and be prepared when the opportunity arises? Those are the two things you got to pull together.
Well, it was like an interesting mixed bag of wild cards. You know what I mean? You got guys like, and two guys stuck out to me, Maciel and Wojciech. We all know they're top 100 players. You know, I think like the political uncertainty of last year kind of forced their hand to not play in certain events, which maybe put them in a position that they're in now, where they're not, top 100 when it comes to money earned in matchroom events. But everyone knows. I mean, Wojciech's a world 10 ball champion. Maciel's been knocking on the door. I feel like he's been in that like maybe 10 to 15 range when it comes to European talent of guys like looking to make the Mosconi Cup, in my opinion, anyway. But yeah, I mean, when you think about other events, they hold back wild cards for, special occasions and especially if the field's opened up to 256 or whatever, and so certainly by, maybe beating a guy like Filler in a big event, you know what I mean? Can kind of put you in a good situation.
Yeah, exactly right. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of those guys that are capable, you know what I mean? And just being in the right position, the right moment, like that situation with Josh, I'm sure was a big, like it's weird for me. I'm in a strange place because I have more ranking points than a lot of guys that are in the, let's say the bottom half of the top 128, but I don't have a tour card. So I'm in an outside looking in perspective, but.
Oh, so from money earned, you're top 100, but you don't
have. I'm close. I'm probably like in the top like 140s, somewhere in there, like 130. But in the year one, I have more ranking points than a lot of the guys in the 128. But I'm on the outside looking in because I don't have a tour card. So it's kind of like the way that aligns with the timing makes everything super consequential. So for me, it's kind of fun to see like, okay, there's a reward on the other end of the pursuit if you kind of have those things start to sync up. And even guys like that are doing really well in matchroom events, every event is super consequential. You know what I mean? Like Robbie doing so well boosted him into the top 100, and now he's at the World 9 Ball. You know what I mean? And now he's in the mix really for Reyes Cup. You know what I mean? And so now there's
you would have never put him in that position prior
compound to interest. Now there's compound equity for like you can get on a roll, and with a big tournament like this where the payouts are so high, you can really lock it up and maybe give yourself a great chance.
Oh, you better take it to the bank because I guarantee you it's bound to happen this event. You're going to have – I don't know so much on the American side, but for sure on the Asian and European side, in my opinion, you're at least going to get at a minimum one guy who's going to put himself in position to make the Mosconi Cup where he wasn't – or the Reyes Cup, whatever, like where he wasn't otherwise, And I think it's just the nature of the competition and just the depth and, the amount of players that you have. And it's just, it's sports, right? This is funky things are going to happen. You're going to have these guys that are just going to figure out a way and are going to go on a run. And so,
yeah. And I think there's like a, we have all the obvious guys that we know of that are awesome contenders, like favorites to win every tournament they go to, or at least be mentioned in that class. But there's also like this group of like, I would say like 4 or 5 guys that are really climbing and consistently making runs in big tournaments. And on the American side, I think there's three of those guys. You have Tyler, you have BJ and Oscar. I mean, the last 3 or 4 months, they've all gone consistently super deep. Oscar, especially recently, been going super deep in tournaments where they're just knocking on the door, knocking on the door, knocking on the door, making deep runs, collecting wins against the big guys, like beating Jason Shaw. Like BJ had a win against Jason.
Oscar took out Jason, I think, and Filler in his last event.
Exactly. Oscar got a huge run at the
And Albert.
Scottish Open. Yeah, I mean, these guys are going. And Tyler got second at the McDermott. So like these guys are making these consistent runs and going deeper and deeper. Eventually, you keep knocking on that door, and it's gonna kick open for you. You're gonna have
The dam's just
that
bound to
final.
burst, you know?
Yeah, you just keep pushing. It's gonna open up for you. Mickey Krause is one of those guys on the European side who I think is starting to really like just consistently make these final 16s, final eights, final fours. He's getting to a point where he's pushing hard. P just obviously has been doing super great. You know what I mean? There's a lot of
He's
these guys who
top of
are
that
just,
list. Top of
man,
that list for sure
yeah,
in that
they're
category.
just they're just kind of they know the work they have to do. They're not super fixated on like, oh, all my nuts are in this one basket for like this one event. They're just like, this is my process. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
When you
think it very much is process focused because and then by default, it's translating into results in individual events, But especially a guy like Pius, like you talk to him and he's like, I'm not, worried about this. And like a lot of guys will say the right things, right? Oh, I'm not going to worry about Mosconi Cup, or I'm not going to worry about, but they are. We all know they are. We can see them sweat, especially come an event like August U.S. Open, right, where it's crunch time and it's time to make moves. But this is summer, and this is where like a guy like David, took advantage of last year and went on a pretty decent run, solidified his spot in the European team. But like a guy like Pius, especially, like I said, you feel like when you talk to him, he's just like, I'm just taking it, tournament by tournament, and then all of a sudden you just see like, oh man, over the last 5 months, find me a guy who's been more consistent than Pius Labutus,
yeah,
and on tour.
he's putting it in. And I think too, like sometimes people will get like have like a little crash and burn moment or something where they get deep in a tournament and they just don't get there. But like honestly, you need those things. Like you for those guys who have already decided like no matter what, I'm still gonna like wake up tomorrow, put my shoes on, and get back to work. Like they'll have these moments where they get up a super high pressure moment and just don't get there, and it's like, okay, cool. There was this thing that I took from that, and now I'm stronger, and now it's just like, and they just kind of keep going. And that's where you see like you know those breakthroughs start to happen. You see big things happen for players who are operating on that kind of frequency. So it's going to be
It's
exciting to watch, man.
it's made scoreboard watching just take a whole other like level for me already starting with this event. Day one majors. I'm not really watching a whole lot. I'm checking in. You know what I mean? I know we're gonna see chalk. We talked about
I love when you say
the
that, by the way. It always
what's
just
that?
takes me back to when you had to go take a nap at Derby because there was so much chalk in the round nine.
And that what and it was funny because that nap I went to go take at Derby was probably like at 9 o'clock at night, and in that set of matches, Raymond's beating Josh, and I'm being woken up because my phone. Everyone knows my phone's always on silent, and all of a sudden it's just vibrating over and over and over again. And it was thanks to this gentleman sitting right below me on the screen, and Raymond beating Josh. So, but one thing is 128, it really just it supersized like the competition from the beginning, and what I mean by that is like the caliber of matches from the jump was amazing.
It's
And
brutal.
so
It's
yeah,
brutal.
it
Balls are
well, I mean, if you're there it's brutal. If you're
yeah.
at home watching, it's like these are great matches that you want to watch from the jump. And we're gonna go through the matches that happened today, not obviously not all of them, but just certain ones um, that stick out. And then we're also going to go through a few of the matches that we're looking forward to for the first 32 or first, whatever it is, first 64, the second half of the first 64 that's going to be going on tomorrow. off the top of your head, as I'm bringing in this screen, anything kind of just stuck out to you from the beginning, Raymond? Like just in general. Let me take this
Yeah,
off for you.
there was one match that I was just like, man, this could be like a Final Four match. Like it was Copigny versus
Jeff.
Ignacio, and I
Yeah.
was like, man, what a brutal draw first round. You know what I mean? To
For
have,
who?
have
Which one is a brutal for?
but
You know?
exactly, it's like they're
Yeah.
both champions. They're both
Right.
super high quality. You know, a lot of people aren't used to seeing Ignacio so much, but he's one of the most talented players like in the world. You know what I mean? And like the more he gets out in these events, I mean, he went hill with Ko Pinion, and he was on the hill first. Ko had to run like win the last 3 games to escape.
He
You know what I mean?
goes down 2-0, ends up being up like 7-2, I think, on Ko, and then Ko is just, he's the epitome of a champion. He's won everything under the sun when it comes to pool, and he's just an absolute monster. And we don't get to see him a whole lot on the WNT stage per se, but like whenever he goes plays other events, he's always playing on the last day. Like he's that kind of talent. And if you ask any of the Filipinos, one of the Asian players, they know who they're messing with, right? They know who he is. I'm sure, Ko knows who. I mean, I'm not sure. I know that Ko knows who he is and gave him the respect, and it was brutal for him. But man, it ended up being a pretty great match because, like you said, Jeff goes up, I think like 8-6, something like that. After a little bit of a loose safety battle, and then Ko just finds a way and grinds, man. And I think you're going to see that with tables look like they played a little soft at times. Jeff at times, to me, one thing that really stuck out, especially at certain parts of this match, man, were just like he was just two stroking, man. Like just, and I know he's got like this exciting like style of play, but I couldn't believe some of these shots where it was just like by the time, like it looked like he processed the decision and he got down literally like one stroke fire.
I played Jeff. I want to say it was either 2 or 3 years ago at the U.S. Open. It might have been the first year they had it. It was the last year of one on the spot, and I played Jeff on the one loss side at the U.S. Open, and he was the only player that I can remember in like the last 5 or 6 years that I've played that his pace like affected me to like it's just like this like tempo thing that it's just like running, and it makes you want to try and keep up with him. But unless you're like 1988 Earl Strickland, like it doesn't benefit you to try and keep up with this with this thoroughbred. You got to like, wait, slow down, take your time. You don't, because that's just gonna like, if you make a mistake now, it's just like he's back in there running again. And so we had a really amazing match. Like it went real close to the end, but I just remembered having to tell myself like my table, my pace when I was at the table to slow myself down because it was so tempting to want to try and keep up with him. And I was just like, man, this guy is so fast and he processes so fast and he goes so fast. I think maybe too fast, honestly, because when he's always like, I feel like he's on the borderline of like either hitting a super high gear or just like maybe making a little mistake
works,
that holds
right,
him
then,
back.
Then you stick with it, right? If you're him.
That's how talented he is. I think when he finds that little bit of like just like riding the throttle and like just balancing a hair, he's just going to be really brutal to deal with, I think. And I mean he was up 8-6. I guess you're on the hill and breaking against Copigny. That's the position
it's day one. It's match one. You're playing on the TV table with a multiple-time world champion, right? A guy who's very seasoned in playing under those conditions, who's played in multiple world championships. And, all things considered, I mean, Jeff did a hell of a job, And so I think that like it's easy to say from sitting down, like, man, I wish you just slow down a little bit. But man, they got him up 8-6, and that's all you're gonna ask for, right? If you're up 8-6 on Copigny day one of the biggest, purse in pools last 20 plus years, hey, I'm riding that horse, So
the great thing about a player like him is that he can overwhelm you really fast, and it could just be like blown out of the water type of thing. He's like a Jason Shaw type of guy. So, I think for him, the good thing about this format is that he only has to win like 2 more matches to qualify for Final 64.
At least. I know like the guys who won today only got to win 1 more. But I think think it might be 3 more matches. And you're gonna like his chance. I mean, obviously it's gonna be deep on the one loss side even still, but Especially just given the way that he was
Sure.
showing form against Cole. You're going to like his chances. But let's go through some of these first round matches. And again, we're not going to go through all of them. FSR starts off defending world champion with a 9-2 win. Kyle Alvarado, see his name in the chat. I don't know if that's him or his burner account, but big talent against a hometown hero in some respects in Khalid, young kid with a ton of promise. I know he's won some big events, and this is like, man, I want to say, Raymond, it was maybe like 2 years ago. I heard about a big money event out there where it was something like a $500,000 prize purse, something like that, where winner got 250, and even Khalid, I think he got in well over six figures playing in the finals. And I can't remember who we lost to,
That's
but
great.
it seemed like that was just the beginning. And I remember hearing back then, like, just wait, it's coming, and here we are, it's here. But he loses to Kyle Alvarado 9-5, Oliver 9-0 against Hussein, Conrad 9-2 over Tuan, very strong. Tuan's a
Conrad must have played amazing. Conrad must have. I mean, he's capable, obviously, of playing great, but like you're saying, Tuan is a legit champion, from Vietnam, and those guys are no joke. So Conrad must have put a heck of a set together.
Well, like I mentioned before, I didn't get to watch like every single ball, but I'm watching a lot of these matches. I'm checking in from time to time, and the conditions just looked a little soft to me. The break was going down with some ease, and maybe it's just kind of getting a little spoiled with the last event. I kind of want to see more of a grinding type, world championship. Personally, I do, but. Like, listen, you can have some big swings, right? Goes down 3 games, snaps off the last 3, right? If you get a guy who he's just sitting in his chair and just kind of waiting for his opportunity, and this is just going to get me even more excited for the next few days, it's like, man, the guy ain't ever going to be out of it as long as he gets just one more chance, right? And the way that the tables are playing and the way that the event's going to set itself up to be like, I mean, a few 4 or 5 games ain't going to be much to overcome, Ray.
Yeah, and Conrad's such a dangerous player. He's got such great ball pocketing ability, and he's super sharp, and he's got an underrated kind of gear that he can hit when he gets going and open and flowing. So if he has a break working, you know what I mean? Like, there's no doubt you can put 3, 4, 5 together. Like, that's like, that's like an inning.
Yeah,
You know what I
it
mean?
is.
Really,
Especially if they get the
levels.
control dialed in, which
Yeah.
a guy like Conrad, you expect him to for sure. And talk about trends. I mean, the guy's just trending the right way. Kazakis with a 9-6 win over Basar Alex in full daddy mode. Congratulations here. You just had a couple of twins, but coming out strong. We ain't seen him in a while.
Wow.
But 9-6 win to start off his world championship run. Brent mentioned in the chat as far as Ignacio being the most underrated player. For me, it's the guy right below Alex in Levan. Levan is like I remember this is probably like whenever Dennis was still here in the U.S., but I remember asking Dennis, I said, who's like the toughest Filipino to gamble with? Like, who's the toughest guy, to match up with or to play in a tournament? But specific to Filipinos. And he didn't even hesitate. Levan, and every time we see Levan in an event, he probably comes over to the U.S., maybe 2-3 times a year, maybe if that. But he's always there at the end. He's always there contending in the last few days. Always does well at the Derby. 9-1 win to start off his run, and then Youngo with a 9-5 win over the young Riku Rampinen.
I'll say this about Levan. I just was thinking about it right now, you mentioning it to him, and I think it's safe to say that he's the new Bustamante.
Whoa, easy there, Tiger. I don't know if I can let you. I don't know if I can let you write that check, Ray.
Very simple. Of the Filipinos, there was always like the alpha, right? And Efren was that guy forever. And it's almost like people didn't appreciate how great Bustamante was. And he was kind of there, obviously super capable, but like Efren had the limelight. And I feel like there's been Filipinos now that have kind of stepped in and kind of taken the limelight. And yet there's the Slayer who's in the background over there just killing literally everybody who
you like, just look over and there's just bloodshed over there because the dude's just running through everybody.
Yeah, and the styles of play aren't the same because Bustamante was so flowy and he's way more compact.
But I feel like that serves him really well though, because he can be such a chameleon like anywhere on earth. I feel like with Levan,
especially when when the tables get super tight and the pockets get really tough, like it serves his game quite a bit, and he moves great, and I mean, the guy is just so knowledgeable, and he's now that kind of Bustamante's in this older stage of his career. Like there's a space now that's open for like who's going to be the older statesman of the Filipinos with all the young ones
There's a lot
coming
of
up,
them.
and I feel like he's the guy. Yeah, and him and Alex are like the two guys probably. Dennis is still on the island, of course, and so is
Yeah, but listen,
you have to
Alex is
think
Alex
maybe
because of Alex. But if you think
Biado's still a
about
little
like results when it comes to like Levan and Alex, I don't think it's that close, man. Personally, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Alex is probably the guy that you would look at as the alpha. You know what I mean? Especially with all the world accolades. But again, there's this guy who's sitting over there who will literally drill anybody.
Anybody.
You know what I mean? And it's never a surprise. Like nobody's ever surprised that, oh yeah, Levan beat whoever. Like it's like never a shocker.
The last time he won
he
Derby City was against a young Josh Filler, and that were maybe like what in the last 5 years. So very much within Josh's like recent prime, I guess you would say, whatever. But anyway, moving on. Probably the first upset, if you will, of the event, at least scoreboard anyway that we're looking at right now. Sky loses to Ching 9-4. On paper, just as far as like marquee names, I would say upset, but Quo is a very dangerous Taiwanese player. Like he gets a lot. He maybe doesn't get the respect that he deserves because of so many other vogue names coming out of that region. But anytime you see that flag next to a guy, especially playing in an event like this, dude can play a little bit.
I literally talked about Kwo Cheng like yesterday or the day before with my buddy Dell. We were talking about just great players that people forget about, and I feel like everybody, just talks about Wu so much, but they forget about the guy that he broke and ran the set on, the last 5 racks to steal the world championship from, and it was against Kwo Cheng. You know what I mean? So this guy is was a world championship finalist. So obviously super experienced player, very knowledgeable. I know Sky apparently had issues with his cues not arriving on time, and that was like
you get there early, right? You got to give him credit, right? You show up early, you want to get acclimated to the time change, but what the hell are you going to do if you're trying to build a house and you ain't got your tools?
Yeah, it's tough action. It's almost like, hey, can I leave a burner queue with a friend of mine?
Anybody got a 4x8 I can just slide a queue into?
Now I'm thinking, like, do I got to send a separate case with the exact setup? Oh my god, that's so rough. I'd be pretty tilted about that. Yeah. But still, Skyler again is one of these guys who he always grinds and bounces back, and he's only got to win 3. So if he can fade that and get to the final 64, he'll breathe a sigh of relief and kind of give himself a chance.
Guy's been known to dice up a one-loss side, in his day. That's for sure. And if you think about guys who, if he does win 3 matches, there's going to be he'll be on that list of guys you don't want to draw into if you're on the winner's side of the final 64, right? This guy's not the guy you want to see sitting across from you. So kind of brutal, though. I mean, it is brutal, man. The biggest event of the year, you're looking forward to it all year. You're training, you're grinding, you're preparing, you show up, you do all your due diligence and you show up, ahead of time, and then to not get your stuff. And look, I'm sure he's not making any excuses here because of the guy who he lost to. But kind of chilly, and again, just shows like how brutal a draw this event really is going to be, man. Because you have these 2 guys lining up day number 1 before lunchtime. I mean, it's a little cold. Yap with the 9-3 win. Melling, guy, listen, this dude, Chris Melling, you can put him in like 5 different disciplines in pool ray, and he's just going to take down like monster after monster. And Daniel Gutenberger is number 4 on the Austrians, but that guy plays really strong pool. I've seen him a few times. He plays absolutely great. And Chris with the 9-3 win. Golly, man, can Chris go on a run, you feel like?
I mean, I love Chris's game. I'm a big fan of just his disposition. Yep. He's always super positive and just triple talented, very creative. Obviously defers a lot to his kicking and safety play, which is awesome. He's not just a one-trick pony shot maker. And, last year or the year before at the U.S. Open, he was right there in the final 8, you know what I mean, with a chance to get to final 4. So, I mean, he's super capable. You know what I mean? So if the balls roll right for him and he's prepared like he always is, then I mean he's a threat, to make Team Europe throw a hand
God, how
grenade
sweet
in
would
the
that be, man?
situation.
A guy, hey, listen, you throw a guy like Chris out of nowhere out of left field, Matchroom's gonna love that.
Former MVP,
Chris,
right?
yes,
He's
yes,
former
yes. He's
MVP,
been on that
right?
team a few times, and he's exciting to watch, man. We talked about Jeff and his two stroking. Listen, although Chris has got like the longest follow through in the history of pool, like his
Right.
decision making and his ability, his vision at the table is fascinating to me all the time. And he just once he settles in mentally, it's like down, stroke, shoot, down, stroke, shoot. Like it's fun
Oh
to
man,
watch. I love watching Chris Melling play any cue sport for that matter.
he's a beautiful player to watch. He's very easy to root for, and he's a super super sweetheart of a guy. So it's just like, yeah, man, go get it. Have fun. Like,
Former Spanish
know.
Open champion
So
Dang loses Hill to Nam Pham from Vietnam. I don't know who Nam is, to be honest. I couldn't point him out in the lineup, but obviously we know who Dang is after that Cinderella run that he had out there. Last time that we seen him, I think outside of like a PLP type event, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong there, but 9-8 loses in the first round, and then the second biggest upset for me, Ray.
yeah,
And I want to dive into this match a little bit, but and especially the opponent of Carlo, but Carlo Biado, one of the guys who I had picked to be in the final four of this event, loses 9-5 to Marco Turtur.
yeah. Marco's one of these guys I think
For
that
sure.
flies under the radar, and then it seems like every big event he takes down a juggernaut, and everybody's like, "Whoa, what happened?" It's like, but they haven't woken up to him yet. Super solid, very fit guy. Looks like a pool player. Gets down on the ball great. Super mechanics. Killer instinct. And I mean, he beat Shane, I think,
Indeed.
last year at the U.S. Open. On the one loss side was the guy who gave him his first loss. And his hair is perfect. I mean, really great. I mean, guy looks and always plays tremendous when I've seen him play, and he's always made deep runs. So I'm not surprised so much as more of like he's here and he's ready. That's one of the things about the dark horses, that sometimes it's like they're capable, but are they prepared to be like full lock in right now? Like did everything align for them, in their prep to get them to where they can be apex version of themselves and go out there and win a match like this? Very strong start. It's got to build a ton of confidence for him. And he's definitely somebody to look out for. You don't want to, I mean, at this point, second round, you're going to see tons of tough matches, and he's going to be a super tough draw if he's already kind of, because 9-5 is dominant.
And he led really, wire to wire from what I remember watching the scoreboard, because that was something I had my eye on for a while this afternoon.
It's hard. It's hard to trip over yourself and end up winning 9-5. You know what I mean? Like, you don't just kind of get there.
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean?
Everything you said was absolutely right. The guy can take down juggernauts for sure, right? I was there when he beat Shane there at the U.S. Open, and it wasn't like he got away with one. Like, he dominated Shane. He absolutely just crushed him from beginning to end. Listen, I love guys like this who show a lot of promise when it comes to big names, but you got to like follow that up with beating the guy who maybe you're quote unquote supposed to now, or maybe you transition into like this different tier of player where like you're not going to be the underdog anymore, right? Like, you beat a guy like Shane in your last major, you follow that up with beating a guy like Carlo in the World Championships, when Carlo is Carlo. Carlo is one bad man. He may be the number one pick from the Filipinos if you gave him all wild cards. He's that kind of bad man. And so to beat him in the first round of the World Championship, if you're Marco, massive congratulations to him. But man, I want to see you just do more now, because now you're showing like consistency and form in these events. And now it's like, okay, the guys who, like, if you can beat a guy like Carl, you ought to be able to beat anybody. You know what I mean? So obviously everything's got to work in your favor in order to have a pretty great run. But damn, man, that's a strong win for one Marco Turtur, man, for sure.
Yeah, that's got to be a beautiful feeling. You know what I mean? Because you aren't getting as many opportunities to come play these big events as you'd like, probably. So each one kind of means a little bit more. And to just go out there and say, plant the flag. This is me. It's my time now. Like,
oh, he's
that's
here.
Really strong.
He's here. That's for sure. Another guy who I'm real high on, Maciel wins a Hill match. A lot of Hill matches today. Hill match against Naoki Oi.
Yeah.
Obviously, Oi is a fan favorite because of a lot of things, but he showed during the World 10 Ball that he's got a lot of game outside of just his personality that people seem to run favor for. 9-8 win for Daniel. Super, super strong. Way to close him out. This is a guy, man, for me personally, I've been picking for the last few months or last 6 months to kind of make a decent run. And when I say decent run, like for me, a guy like Maciel, I think he's like top 8 or bust. You know what I mean? Like anything short of top 8, man, you didn't get there. And there's other guys who like a Federer, right? Federer, we just expect to be like in a top 8, but Maciel, man, golly, that's a good way to start off the event. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's a good one to win. I mean, Naoki's been super solid like the last 4 or 5 years, super consistent. You know what I mean? And he's had small spurts of like he's close to winning a big one. You know what I mean? So he's definitely not going to just roll over and be an easy draw. And Maciel had to play really great to beat him. So that
for sure. And there's a lot of them that are going to be like that, just how the event's going to unfold. But kudos to Matchroom. They've had, I think, like 3 TV table matches or 3 matches available to watch. I think they had Matchroom Multisport if you're on YouTube, Matchroom Pool if you're on YouTube, and then today they also had DAZN. Cruising through a few of these other matches, Dennis Grabe wins 9-4. Lucados loses to the third co-brother 9-4. Bit of an upset there. Demetrius can play a little bit. Not a little bit, a lot of it. Al Shamiri with a 9-7 win over former Mosconi Cup player David Alcade. I saw a comment in the chat, Ray, about Saudi Punk and David. I don't know. Did something happen? Did I miss some drama or something?
Yeah. No, this guy had David down 8-4 and looked like he was going to steamroll him. Like, excuse me, I've seen Abdullah play at a few events, and he has a kind of like a
Al Shamiri can play pool.
Like,
yeah, he's got a high gear
and has a really high gear. Well, he exhibited that high gear to get up on the hill against David, and David, I think, won a game, and then Brooke and made a 9-ball on the break to kind of get it a little close. So it's 9-7, but it really wasn't that close type of thing. Probably was like supposed to be 9-6, but he got a little bit of a momentum push towards the end. But Abdullah closed it out, played a strong set, played really beautiful pool. So full credit to him. Yeah.
I saw when I was because I was scoreboard watching this one a little bit. I knew it was on YouTube. I was with the girls earlier, and then I tuned in because it was like right around that 8-4 range, like you were saying. And then I tuned in at around 8-7. I forgot what the hell happened. I had to turn away, but I didn't know who won. Now, hello, news flash here. 9-7 for Al Shamiri. No shame there for David because, like you said, Abdullah can play really well, but obviously he had higher expectations in his first round. Jason Shaw with a 9-4 win over Jeffrey Rhoda. Tough first round matchup for Jay. Man, it's weird, man. Like, I talk about guys just needing a little bit of time to get in stroke when it comes to switching equipment. I think Jason just never heard about that rule because he seems to be the exception to it over the last few months, man. It's crazy to me.
I think he like jump started that whole process by going down and doing that straight pool run. I think once he got that immersion time in with the cues and just kind of like just put the work in and kind of tailored them, figured them out, I think he kind of settled. And, there was a little bit of like uncertainty when he first switched, which is normal. You know what I mean? You're kind of figuring, and then he just went in and played like, 18-hour days or whatever, to like figure it out. And, I think he's settled, and so he's dangerous. So to have a tough matchup and kind of get through there, even though I think he said in his post-match interview that his break wasn't working so great on that particular table for that match. I mean, like, great, you won 9-4 and your break wasn't working. You know what I mean?
Like, look out! If the entire tournament heard that, they're like, "Oh shit, here we go."
Yeah, right. Because, so it's like, if you're grinding and it's 9-4, like, oh, okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, you're like, man, my break was terrible, but somehow I just happened to be one of the strongest, youngest, hottest Filipino players in Jeffrey Rhoda. Congratulations! It's crazy to me, man. And on top of that, I think Jay's got a room full of these Mr. Sungs there in Connecticut, right? So
I just was up there last month. I took a weekend up there to go see some friends and stopped into US1 Billiards, and I played on one of the tight ones, the 4-inch pocket. They have a couple there that are still set up for PLP, super worn in cloth. They were
Yeah,
snug
yeah.
tight, but very fast cushions. I think they're K55 rubber, very, very quick, but they played great. They played comfortable. They're just like a fast, really fast Gold Crown, but with like a diamond cut pocket. It's kind of an interesting play.
Well, he's right at home, that's for sure. What was to be another upset didn't end up coming out, and Chua against Ali. Now, listen, there's guys who I can't pick out on the radar on this, like in a lineup in this
Yeah,
tournament. That dude who Johann Chua faced, I could not pick him out to save my life. Right, I have no idea who he is, but he jumped up on Johann from the beginning.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I happen to go on Facebook and see on Matchroom Pool's Facebook thing where it was like Chua survives, and I'm like, well, what the hell happened? You know?
Yeah, apparently this guy was shooting at a 3-9 combo to win the match earlier
Oh
in the
no,
set before it became like super crazy.
really?
And he makes the combo and one rail scratches in the side.
So
And
wait a
that
minute, you're telling me right now the dude makes a combo to win the set, and then has some fluky scratch in the side? Is that what? And then
it wasn't
and then the
super
wheels came off.
fluky. He kind of like just like, I'm just gonna make the ball, whatever. Like, you got to protect the ball. I think probably he just should have shot the combo soft, like not so hard. He was just
Yeah.
and it was laying natural. It wasn't laying to where you had to hit it kind of hard or stun the ball or anything like that. And yeah, that prolongs the set. And then they go double hill. Um, Hamza is shooting the 8 ball. It's kind of
Has
long and
anyone checked on this dude? Did anybody know if he's all right?
flat.
Because
Somebody check the
this
bridging.
story's got me in my emotions right now.
It's tough. It's really brutal.
Hearing this.
It's so brutal. He ends up long and kind of flat on an 8 ball where he's got to go forward 2 cushions,
Wait a minute.
and the 9 is on the opposite long rail by the second diamond, and he
You're
goes
telling me this dude was on the 8 at
shooting the
Hill?
8, yeah, shooting the 8 hill, follows 2 cushions, and then goes forward. The ball starts to drift towards the 9 and clicks the 9, and he doesn't get shape, right? So he's right up against the 9 along the rail. He's kind of in a trappy spot, right? And it's too close to really comfortably attack at a bank shot. So he plays like the little KG one pocket, like tap the 9 safe, and
Yeah.
welds Chua to the 9 ball along the long rail. And now Chua's in like a dead trap. Like, he's like, Rob Saez did this to me last year in a bar table tournament, and I kicked at the 9 ball and I hung it, but I almost made it. But like, that's like, I felt like the only shot I really had to win right there with. Otherwise, I'm playing some goofy kind of safety.
The only people I've ever heard say they kicked at the money ball in that spot were a bunch of fish, Raymond. Say it ain't so.
I'm just telling you, it was the shot. And, Chua should have taken this shot, but hey, he got away with it. He thins, goes up table, leaves Hamza a shot, like a very makeable look at the 9. Hamza butchers it, hits it terrible, and leaves Chua horrible. Leaves him like where he doesn't have a pocket, but he's up table past the side pocket, parallel to the 9. Chua tries to bank the 9, miscues on the 9.
Oh no.
But he hits the 9, double banks it, and leaves Hamza another shot up table to cut the 9 in up table. And it's like, if this is a shot, if you say at the beginning of the match, I'm going to go double hill, and this is a shot I'm going to have to win the set, would you accept it? Like, you'll gladly go up there and try your best,
Oh, no.
Hamza again overcuts the 9 and banks it and leaves Chua a gimme. You know what I mean? At that point. And Chua escapes.
Yeah.
He really does.
Someone needs to go check on this dude after hearing this story. God damn, this is rough, man.
I was chatting with Dell, and I'm like, oh my God, this match is like nuts. You got to watch this match. It's crazy. And just super high pressure moment. But I super love the decision he made when he flats the 8 ball in, goes 2 cushions, and gets tied up on the 9. Like, it was actually a super strong position to leave your opponent on the long rail, frozen against the 9 with nothing to look at. Like, he got 2 looks at the 9 from that spot.
Yeah.
You know?
So like the decision paid dividends. He just didn't execute when it was time.
Right. The decision was smart. He got 2 looks at the 9. He just didn't bury them. So he'll be thinking about that. But he was thinking right. He wasn't losing his head. You know what I mean? He just, it's a pressure situation. You're talking about, you're playing You know,
See,
oh my,
man, someone's got to know someone who knows someone. We'll get this dude on the show. Someone send this dude a message. See if he's got Facebook. Let's see if we can get him on. I
I
want to
was
talk about it.
I was impressed with the shot because as soon as he played the shot, I'm like, oh wow, he played this shot. Nobody ever plays it, and it's one of these like back pocket, use in case of emergency situations
He's
only.
he's
You know,
breaking motherfuckers breaking the glass. He's
no,
pulling the emergency switch.
he pulled the handle, and it's like, and hey, it gave him a chance against Chua. Did not have an opportunity to win there unless he kicks at the 9, and it's tough to do because it's slippery conditions and all this other stuff, and you know it bought him a look at the 9, and then he just didn't come
And
with
then
it.
it
Okay.
wasn't meant to be. Who knows? Chua may go on to win this event now after
Exactly.
dodging
Sometimes
that many bullets from the beginning. You just never know.
call him Neo. Call
Claudio
the guy.
Cacci with a 9-7 win over Thorsten Holman. I saw Dell, your boy in the chat, my boy in the chat, 8 foot tall Dell Sims say Thorsten's playing great pool right now. But Claudio, man, listen, this dude's dangerous, man. The younger Cacci has got some mad game, right? I mean, some serious contention there with him.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you can't really be super surprised. I mean, Thorsten
I
has
wouldn't call it an upset, personally. Just for the
Yeah.
record, I would not call that win by Claudio an upset. I would expect the kid to beat Thorsten, just given what I've seen of Claudio lately.
Yeah, it's probably two guys that are relatively close enough in skill rating that you would say, well, if they played 10 times, maybe it's like 6-4 one way, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like so it's these close matches are going to happen for sure.
Tyler with a 9-5 win over James Jordanis. James plays really good pool. He's been kind of like trending the right way over the last few events and put his name on the radar for sure. Jonas with a 9-6 win over Wojciech, another new father.
Island boy.
Oh, by the way, I hate that nickname. By the way,
I hate it too. It's horrible.
I hate that nickname with every piece of my soul. I hate that nickname. I wish he would change that nickname for sure.
He's such a great kid, though, man. Like, just super upbeat, loves the game. And
for sure. No, yeah. I love Jonas. Just hate the nickname.
Imagine coming up and you got two legends like David and FSR, and you get to like practice with them all the time. What a great opportunity for him to just like come up and really kind of learn his chops. And he looks like a little FSR copy, like his little mannerisms and everything is really funny.
He's got a fun style of play. Doesn't waste any time. Super executes really well. Snapped off what was it? The Expo a couple years ago. So kid's got a ton of promise. Ralph with the 9-2 win. Roland Garcia survives Nick De Leon. He was up big on Nick, and I was watching this one like scoreboard. Watching Nick came back, man, showed some heart. 9-7 loss, but
Roland is so sneaky tough. Like he's sneaky tough.
He is.
You watch him hit balls, and you're like, you're not that good, and then you're like, you're that good, aren't you? He's just like
you just kind of like take him for granted.
A little bit.
Like, a little bit. Yeah.
Compared to some of the guys who have so much polish and technique, but Roland really knows how to trap and move, and he's one of these guys. Like, let's say if you tilt like 9-ball to one pocket, like he's probably tilted more towards the one pocket side where he's really like using his knowledge a lot more than just relying on offense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you can't really sleep on Roland. He's super tough.
The thing with me and Roland is that like it's either one or two things. Either the dude's going to be in the final, or he may go out and the round is he may go out his next match. You know what I mean? Like there's no in between with him. Got a ton of promise and just like can be super consistent. But the other times it's like, man, where did you go in this tournament? Because I saw you early on. All of a sudden, where are you at? So
the great thing about Roland though is that he's like never negative. Like you never.
No. He's always smiling. Always smiling.
Go off the rails whenever he loses. Like, oh, how's that? Messed up. Whatever. So I love that.
Former World 9-ball Championship finalist Omar Al Shaheen loses 9-4 to Kachi. Mickey Kraus 9-4 win over Jeremy Saucy. Strong win there for Mickey. You mentioned his name earlier as far as guys who were playing consistent. 9-5 win for BJ. Hunter Lombardo, man. Hunter Lombardo 9-8 win over Niels Fine. I mean, what happened? What did I miss here?
I'm not sure. I didn't see the match. And you would, you definitely probably would trend to always pick Niels in that spot. And Niels is
every time, right? Every time you're picking Niels. And let me tell you, if you're a race to 9, okay, a race to 9. I'm gonna just like open the door for the degenerate side a little bit, okay? Because I know you're real buttoned up. Um, a race to 9. Niels Fine, Hunter Lombardo. Niels is probably minus 2.5 games,
Right.
right? So you're saying, so basically what you're saying is 9-6 in favor of Niels is going to be a win. If Hunter got to 7, it was a win for Hunter. This dude beats him outright on the money line, 9-8 over Niels. Now I know Niels wasn't too thrilled playing that last event, complaining about pocket size and whatever else, but you ain't got that problem over here. What the hell went wrong with Niels, man? This is crazy to me.
I don't know, man. It's tough. Like I know, like for instance, we were talking about Tyler earlier. Tyler had some like stomach issues earlier. I think we were chatting about it, and he's like I'll be fine. You know what I mean? Like little weird things can happen for you, or you just like you're traveling. It takes a lot of time to get there. All this other stuff. Like, but I know Niels, traveled early. I think so. Probably was settled on the time difference. It's not a super big time jump from Netherlands. So I mean, credit to Hunter. Hunter's a capable player. He's been playing pool for a long time, and puts the work in, puts himself in a position to always be involved, and that's really all you can do is like again, pool's played on a table, not on paper. So good for Hunter for going out there and pulling an upset round 1, and especially as an American, the Americans did pretty good. This opening round. I mean, BJ's another guy who. I think BJ and Hunter play next, actually. So the two winners, that's winners qualification tomorrow. I was checking through the bracket, so that's going to be.
No, wait, they should have a day off then, and then probably play the following day would be my guess.
Right. Yeah. But like BJ's now instead of BJ's got to love it too because now he's like, wow, well look, I played this guy.
Look, man, if you were BJ, right? If you were BJ, and you thought, man, I'm at to face Niels in round 2, and then you see Hunter come up on there. If you're BJ, you're loving it. Okay, let me tell you right now, BJ's loving it. He's loving his life right now.
Yeah, and BJ's one of these bulldog type guys. I mean, he beat Shaw, at the Super Billiards Expo. Like I'm telling you, the guy's playing great right now. So even if it was Niels, I think he's one of these guys that is going to just be locked in and ready to go. And, I wouldn't have been surprised if it would have been BJ that beat Niels. Now, I'm more surprised that Hunter beat Niels. But, both guys have to feel
and
better.
Hill. I mean, goddamn, never mind. It's Hill. It was Hill.
Was there a shirt foul or no?
I think it was someone being a smartass, which we always appreciate, by the way. But, yeah, man, that's crazy to me, man. Hill, you beat. I mean, congratulations to Hunter, for sure. Big win for him. But, man, did not expect that. Another unexpected loss. Sufi loses to a guy from Bosnia that I never heard of. I don't know. I mean, and Mohammed's coming off of a. Didn't he just win like a Euro Tour recently, like in the last few weeks?
I think he did really well in Mexico as well. I think he was down there and did pretty good.
Man. But I mean, that's wild stuff. Losing the first one. So right now, after day 1 of the World Championships, you got Sky, Carlo, Niels Fine. Who else am I missing here? That are on the 1-loss side of the World Championships after the first half of the first round.
Yeah, Sufi. I mean, a lot of great players that are going to be.
Omar Al-Sheen. I mean, I know we ain't seen him in about 3 years, but Omar plays pretty good. Loho Sum, former World Pool Master upstart, loses 9-7 to Mark Biesterbosch. Mark is solid, man. Mark is just super consistent. Darren, man, I mean, God, I want that story to just develop, man. How can you not help but root for Darren?
I love Daz. He's a tremendous guy. This would be a full circle thing for him. You know what I mean? To make a deep run at this event, considering what happened to him last time he was here and how that kind of sparked a lot of negative stuff for him. And it would be great redemption for him to make another deep run. So I'm rooting for him.
Well, Ray, we're already getting close to like being at the hour, so I don't think we're gonna have enough time to go through everything. But I'm just gonna kind of cruise through a few of these matches and just kind of pepper on some that kind of stick out. John Moore versus AJ Madness. That's a strong Filipino player. Candela against Gonzalez. Let's see here. Moritz against Gangflot. Man, 2 young Europeans. That's going to be a really good match.
And they're buddies too. Like
are they boys?
Yeah. They've kind of come up around each other pretty often, so that'll be a
Well,
interesting one to watch for sure.
flavor of the last few weeks: Tobias Bongers against Jan van Leeuwen, two strong European
Yeah,
players. Wolford upset alert against Alvin and Guido. I don't even know if you can call him an upset at this point, but Alvin is a great Indonesian player. And
right.
he's been playing. He's been playing some solid pool. Robbie Capito, man, against Carl Natterberg. You think
That'll be a
that's
tough
that upset?
match. That'll be a tough match for both. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Alexa Pachel against Sam Henderson. That's going to be another good one to watch for.
yeah.
Kind of brutal for Sam, but and Alexa, man, we ain't seen him since the U.S. Open. Hopefully, he does pretty well in this event. Two Filipinos matching up in round number one. Man, this is big, man. Anton Raga against Bernie Regalario. I mean, goddamn, these boys traveling together and then they just go and dance in round number one, day one, round one. I mean, come on,
It always happens. If you travel with somebody, you're like 60
lock it up.
30, 60 40%.
60-30.
These Louise.
The pool gods just got like the funniest sense of humor. Fuchi Wei against Albin Ocean, Josh Filler against Joao. Look, I remember Joao
That's a little
played.
bit of a trap match, a little bit.
It is. It really is. Now I ain't listen. I'm not gonna say Josh is gonna lose to Joao, but I remember Joao in particular at the U.S. Open because that dude was just dismantling everybody.
Tough play.
It's going to be on TV table too, which is right in Josh. That's like Josh's home right there. So excited for that one. Feliciano against Michael Snyder. Sanjin against Ting from Taiwan. Let's see here. Al Youssef against Petri. That one's going to be tough too, man. Petri's coming off of a strong, whatever this UK Open, right?
Mm-hmm.
Al Youssef, we've seen him be consistent over the last few years. Tim DeRuiter against Mario He. Imran Majid, Bader. What are some matchups that are kind of highlighted for you, Ray?
Well, I mean, that Bader match you just announced. Bader's coming in as a wild card, I think, and
He is.
He's super tough, super tough, and I know he's been training.
With Johann, he's been training with Johann. Not just been training. He's been training with Johann consistently at a minimum. I know of the last 6 months, if not longer.
So he's one of those guys that I think we're not really chatting too much about, but has big potential, I think, to really hurt some feelings and make a nice little run,
We know he's got that gear, Ray. We've seen it over the last 2 years.
Yeah, he's unbelievable and just super capable. Lots of toughness too. You know what I mean? Like not just like talent. It's funny because I kind of think of him and I think of Al Shaheen a little bit, and I think of like Al Shaheen being more on the talent side of stuff. You know what I mean? Where he's got so much ability and creativity and can kind of flow, but if he's feeling right and the talent kind of lines up, kind of like Jason, you know what I mean? Where Jason has that kind of like super high ceiling, but he's got to like get himself into that. Bader, I think, is just super tough. You know what I mean? I don't think he has
steady. I think for me, Omar's like number 3 out of those. Between Al Youssef, Bader, and Al Shaheen, you would have put Omar up number 1 for a while. It ain't that way anymore.
Right.
Bader's probably just
no, he's the guy. He's the guy. He's the guy right now for them for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. No doubt. I'm going to try to get Mike on tomorrow in the morning as well and try to do some more stuff, kind of going through some of these other matches, but we'll kind of just cruise through along. Oscar and Sullivan Clark, Huang against Tolian Han. Man, that old dude from Singapore, right? Is that Singapore? And that guy, he's I know he's like Yap's mentor and but man, he's a dangerous like Mr. Miyagi. He's Mr. Mr. Miyagi, and then he just yes. 100. And then he just just starts beating big name after. I forgot who we beat in the last tournament, but it was like some strong names that he was just chopping down, man.
He's very steady and super knowledgeable. Again, one of these guys who's like just has so much experience and so much knowledge, and it's like, don't respect your elders. Okay, brush your teeth. All right, say your prayers. Don't get out of line.
Yes,
don't get out of line because you'll get clapped pretty soon, man. The guy's really great. This Oscar match with Sullivan Clark's gonna be tough too. I mean, Oscar's been playing unbelievable. Of the top American guys, I think he's showed the most like click into like advanced gear of the three that I've seen. He's really like made a legitimate kind of like walk in. Super proud of him. He's playing great.
Look, from personally, I'd love to see him do well, obviously, right? But like from someone who just loves pool and doing this, right, doing the podcast and whatever else, I want to see him and Huang win round one, and then let them be on TV table for the second round matchup for a chance to qualify, because that'd be a rematch of what was a great final. And
Oh yeah, right.
Oscar's way, but it was an absolutely epic final. I hope it comes to fruition. But both of them got dangerous. Al Sullivan, super fit guy. First came on the radar a few years ago at the World 10 Ball Championship. Seems to be shifting gears here over the last few months for sure. And yeah, man, we'll see what happens. But Elliot Sanderson, at the end, man, flip the coin, I guess. I'm probably picking Vietnam in that one. Federer or against Alnar? Do you know anything about that guy that Federer's playing? I've seen his name quite a bit.
No, I haven't. I haven't watched him play, but you know, you're going up against 1A, you know, in the world right now, probably in Federer, and you know, that's tough ask, but you know, that's why you're here. You know, you got a wild card spot to get in. Probably.
Who are the two guys? Who are the two guys at the top right now, in your opinion? If he's 1A, who's alongside with him in that category?
Probably right now you probably still say Josh. You know, Josh and Federer.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I think it's got to be those two guys, probably just for consistency and, you know, level and stuff. The group is tightening up a little bit. You know what I mean? There's less disparity, I think.
The gap is shortening when it comes to these like middle of the tier kind of guys, for sure.
Yeah, and so like they're more bunched up now. I think there's more guys who are kind of in striking distance. You know what I mean? To really break through there and kind of mess stuff up. So. Yeah, I think it'll just be interesting to see. I know Federer's been working hard, you know, putting in the time with Johann for sure, and getting ready. And there's a bunch of guys that have been doing that, you know, just coming here to be prepared and put forth their best effort. So I didn't like the fact that Federer was hanging out with all the European guys before the time. It's just me. I'm just gonna, you know, say, hey, buddy.
Come on, let's talk about that, man. Let's talk about it. Come on.
Listen, if they're gonna hand you a scarf and it's blue and gold, you don't wear it. That's it. Done. I don't care what sport you're in. What sport you're in, you're barred from wearing the blue and gold ever again. Like that's it. Red, white, and blue. That's it. Sorry. That's it. That's all I gotta say.
No, we can talk about this a little bit more, right? Because I'm
just super homer for USA, bro. I'm just like
you can't. You got
homer.
Number one, you're very articulate, extremely wise. So I love having you on the show, right? You got an intelligent perspective. But no, you're right, man. Listen, you can't. And if you're Matchroom, let me tell you something. Matchroom does a great job at marketing and building storylines and all these things, right? But like, spare me the Shaw versus Federer feud if you're gonna show them fucking sharing the same bag of popcorn at the soccer game from here on out. These motherfuckers sitting right next to each other, and then you want to build them up as like Ali Frazier from here through the next 10 years.
We can go hang out after the tournament. You know, before the tournament, like, you know, whatever. We'll talk later. But
you know. I mean, listen, I know he's like American now, right? And I'm going to keep on using quotes every time I say that, you know, for the rest of my life. But like, he's hanging out with Team Europe right now. You see that photo, you think, oh, it's Team Europe hanging out. That's what you see.
This is like the scene from D2 Mighty Ducks when the guys were out walking outside and they see Coach Bombay having ice cream with the ice cream chick.
Yes.
With the enemy. And I'm like,
exactly. Yeah. We can't be having that.
Maybe I'm just getting too amped up about the Mosconi Cup stuff. You know what I mean? But
no, man, we can't. Listen, we can't be. That's a good analogy, by the way, and you're absolutely right. You know, but Coach Bombay, he's got. Listen, man, things happen, man. You know,
I'm gonna roll up into Saudi Arabia tomorrow with the duck call. Just
the flying V. Give him the flying V. You know, that's all I'm saying. Motherfucker sharing popcorn at the soccer game.
It did look pretty amazing. Like just the whole soccer game thing is pretty cool. You get to see Ronaldo and all them. It's great opportunities.
I mean, Shane couldn't get an invite. Sky couldn't get an invite. You know, that's all I'm saying, right? We should
have had the American guys there, and you can have European guys there.
Yeah, give me 3 and 3. Give me 3 and 3. Give me 3 Europeans, 3 Americans, and then I'm good with it, man. You know, you rubbing elbows with the enemy. I'm with you, man. Anyway, listen, we got a lot more World Championship stuff to cover over the next few days. Like I said, I'm probably going to be live at least once a day, if not twice. So we'll get Panozzo on in the morning. Raymond, I know they started like at 7 local. You think is that what time they're starting tomorrow? Do you know?
I
Because
think I saw 6 a.m.
which would
on
have
Saturday.
been so that would be well for
Right.
you would be 6. No,
Yeah.
wait, no 7 local. I think because they're 8 hours ahead of me. So it was like 11 a.m. here Central.
Let's check Dazen real quick.
You should probably know this kind of stuff here.
Who's running,
What's that?
who's running the show?
Yeah, no kidding, right? You guys can check out Matchroom Multisport on YouTube, Matchroom Pool on YouTube, and then DAZN.
Yeah.
They've been having some great
6 a.m.
coverage throughout. 6 p.m. Okay.
6 a.m. tomorrow Eastern. So
We're starting an hour earlier, so 10 a.m. on the Central Time. And then big shout out to Matchroom's media team. I'm sure they're going to help me get some guests over the next coming days as well. Maybe I get that dude who lost the Chua. Reach out to Adam and Jack and see if I can get somebody. Make it, number one, just make sure he's okay. That's number one.
yeah, I think there's great opportunities for a lot of like the in between story stuff to go on, like between matches and stuff, just little interviews and stuff like that. It'd be great. But they're doing a great job. Production, by the way, shout out to Matchroom. Unbelievable set and presentation for the World 9 Ball. Absolutely the way it should be. And they're doing a tremendous job. So
10-year deal, man. 10-year deal.
pumped.
You know, think about that. 10-year deal. Where it's at right now. So a lot of things to look forward to. Anyhow, we'll be live tomorrow. Appreciate Ray for hanging out with us this evening. We meant to get him on the other night, but was great chopping up day 1 matches. We're gonna go through day number 2 matches in the morning. Make sure and keep your notifications on. Big shout out to all of our sponsors, and we'll see all you guys tomorrow.